Every single weekend, hundreds of thousands of people make the same journey. They pile into their cars on a Friday afternoon, merge onto Interstate 15, and sit, often for 4 hours, sometimes for 6, just to get from Los Angeles to Las Vegas. It is, by almost any measure, one of the most congested travel corridors in the United States. And for decades, the solution has been obvious. Build a train. What nobody could figure out was how. The idea of a high-speed rail line between Southern California and Las Vegas is not new. It has been proposed, debated, funded, defunded, redesigned, and abandoned repeatedly for nearly 40 years. The reasons are always the same. The terrain is brutal, the distances are vast, and the politics are even more complicated. You're talking about a 218-mile route that cuts through some of the harshest desert in North America, across state lines, through federal land, over highway corridors that are owned by multiple agencies. Previous attempts collapsed under the weight of those challenges. But in 2018, a Florida-based rail company called Brightline bought the rights to an old proposal called Express West and made a bet that this time would be different. And right now, in 2026, that bet is being built. Brightline West is a privately funded, all-electric high-speed rail line, the first of its kind ever attempted in the United States. The 218-mile route will run almost entirely within the median of Interstate 15, a decision that was controversial at first, but turned out to be one of the project's smartest moves. Using existing highway right-of-way cuts through the most expensive and time-consuming part of any rail project, land acquisition. The trains themselves will be built by Siemens, the American pioneer 220 train sets, designed to travel at up to 200 miles per hour. That would cut the current 4-hour drive between Los Angeles and Las Vegas to just 2 hours and 10 minutes. The line will serve 4 stations, a flagship terminal in Las Vegas, plus stops in Apple Valley, Hesperia, and Rancho Cucamonga, where passengers can connect directly to LA's Metrolink commuter rail system. The price tag, at least $21 billion and rising. $3 billion of that comes from a federal grant awarded by the U.S. Department of Transportation in December 2023, one of the largest rail grants in American history. The rest is private financing, bonds, investors, and Brightline's own capital. Ground was formally broken on April 22, 2024. And right now, construction is active at the Las Vegas station site, with the parking structure already rising from the ground. Building high-speed rail through a desert highway, median sounds straightforward. It is not. The engineering challenges here are significant. The Mojave Desert sees temperatures that swing from below freezing in winter to over 120 degrees Fahrenheit in summer. Rail tracks expand and contract with heat. Ballast, the crushed rock that supports conventional rail, can shift in extreme conditions. So Brightline West is using concrete ties instead, manufactured at a dedicated $20 million facility in North Las Vegas, specifically built for this project. Then there's the geometry. High-speed trains can't take sharp corners. The physics simply don't allow it at 200 miles per hour. Every curve in the track has to be engineered with enormous precision. That's why Brightline's engineers spent years redesigning the route, moving sections deeper into the I-15 median and reconfiguring station locations to achieve the straightest possible alignment. The Victor Valley Station, for example, was completely relocated. Its passenger platforms now sit directly in the highway median, accessed by a purpose-built pedestrian bridge. And across the entire 218-mile route, crews are now conducting geotechnical boring, drilling down into the ground to understand exactly what they're building on. Because in a desert, you can't assume. Flash floods, unstable soil, bedrock depth variations. Each kilometer of track requires its own engineering solution. This is what makes mega projects expensive. Not just the materials, the thinking. Of course, no mega project of this scale comes without controversy, and Brightline West has plenty. The most embarrassing chapter came in early 2025. Brightline had originally promised the project would be complete in time for the 2028 Los Angeles Summer Olympics, a deadline that attracted enormous federal attention and political support. President Biden personally championed it at public events. Governor Newsom made transportation commitments tied to it. Then, in April 2025, Brightline quietly moved the completion date to September 2029. That's a full year after the Olympics. The trains won't be running when the world arrives in Los Angeles. Construction timelines on projects like this are notoriously difficult to maintain. Heavy civil work, the kind of embankment grading, bridge pier construction, and drainage engineering needed here, is acutely vulnerable to permitting delays, supply chain disruptions, and labor shortages. The construction industry is currently experiencing a critical shortage of skilled workers, and Brightline needs up to 18,000 of them at peak. Then there's the shadow of California's own high-speed rail project, the beleaguered $100+ billion line connecting San Francisco to Los Angeles, which has been under construction since 2015 and remains decades from completion. Critics often conflate the two. They are completely different projects with different funding structures in different routes. But Brightline cannot escape the comparison. And then there is the bigger question. Will people actually use it? Brightline projects around 9 million passengers per year once the line is operational. That's an ambitious figure for a market where car culture is deeply embedded, flying is cheap, and the Las Vegas Strip is literally designed to keep you there once you arrive. The financial model depends heavily on getting that ridership. Without it, the private financing structure starts to look fragile. Here's what makes Brightline West so significant. Beyond the route, beyond the price tag, beyond the politics. The United States does not have true high-speed rail, not a single mile of it. Amtrak's Acela, on the Northeast Corridor between Washington, D.C. and Boston, reaches a maximum speed of 150 miles per hour, but only on brief stretches, and its average speed across the whole journey is just 68 miles per hour. That's not high speed. That's improved conventional rail. Japan's Shinkansen has been running at 200 miles per hour since 1964. France's TGV launched in 1981. China has built more high-speed rail in the last 20 years than the rest of the world combined. America has watched, debated, and largely failed to act for half a century. If Brightline West opens, it will be a genuine turning point. The first American intercity train that can genuinely compete with air and road on time, comfort, and cost. And if it works, if the ridership materializes, if the finances hold, it becomes the proof of concept that every future high-speed rail advocate in this country has been waiting for. Developers in Texas are already watching. There's a proposal to connect Dallas and Houston by high-speed rail, another to link Phoenix and Tucson. The Gateway project on the Northeast Corridor is pushing forward. None of them are as far along as Brightline West. None of them have a train station rising from the Las Vegas desert right now in 2026. Brightline West is, at its core, a gamble. It's a private company betting $21 billion that Americans who have rejected high-speed rail for decades will finally choose a train over their cars, that the technology will work, that the financing will hold, that the ridership will show up. And unlike the vast majority of American rail proposals, this one is actually being built. The concrete is being poured, the ground is being prepared, the trains are being designed in a factory in New York State to be assembled with American parts for American passengers. Whether it succeeds or fails, Brightline West is about to answer a question that America has been avoiding for a very long time. Can this country build the infrastructure it needs? If you found this useful, subscribe. We cover the world's biggest construction projects every week. And let us know in the comments, would you take this train?